My lord, so much to get to, but I got to start with the President of the United States basically calling for Israel to ban two lawmakers, and Israel then doing so. I mean, sometimes you just got to pinch yourself, and it feels like kind of like you're being punked on a day-to-day basis by Donald Trump, but this is actually what's happening. This is what's happening. Let's look at Donald Trump's tweet to start off the day. And I always criticize the media for only responding to Donald Trump's tweets, but I have to in this case. So Donald Trump tweeted, "It would show great weakness if Israel allowed Congresswoman Omar and Congresswoman Tlaib to visit. They hate Israel and all the Jewish people, and there is nothing that could be said or done to change their minds. Minnesota and Michigan will have a hard time putting them back in office. They are a disgrace." And Donald Trump, the context was obviously saying this because Congresswoman Omar and Congresswoman Tlaib were about to travel to Israel. I believe, I think it was Congresswoman Tlaib was going to visit her grandmother, I believe, who was in the Palestinian side. Then, pretty much like 10, 15 minutes later, you hear news that Israel is banning Congresswoman Omar and Congresswoman Tlaib from traveling there. It is absolutely, I mean, it's literally Trump tweeted this, and 15 minutes later, they are banned. And obviously, we know, some people are rejoicing on Twitter and all over the place saying they should be banned. They're both supporters of the BDS movement, which is boycott, divestment. And then then there was a much louder chorus of voices saying, "This is absurd. How can Israel call itself a democracy when you are banning two elected leaders in America from coming because they criticize Israel?" Because they're not saying wipe Israel off the face of the earth. They're saying we need them as two women of color, two Muslims, are saying Palestinians are living as second-class citizens. It is an apartheid state, and we need to hit, like in America, there's a lot of times, from Black Lives Matter to the indigenous rights movement to the environmental movement, boycotting and divesting is a strategy to get what you want, just like in America. But when two elected lawmakers who are not calling for Israel not to exist, they're calling for boycott and divestment. It is their free speech as Americans, lawmakers and citizens, to say that. And considering Israel says it is a democracy, they should be able to say that and still, as elected lawmakers, come over. Well, Donald Trump, because we know what kind of campaign he is running, he is basically trying to start a race and religious war here in America. He already has started that race and religious war, and this is just a continuation of that. Here's the bottom line. And my father, I hope he's not watching, because you know my father. He thinks Israel could do no wrong. He's not particularly a fan of Ilhan Omar and Congresswoman Tlaib. I love my father, but he was raised much differently than me, and we feel very differently about this topic. This is insane. I mean, it's so insane that even AIPAC, if we could show that, even AIPAC, who has bought off every politician in America to stand within Israel no matter what, that you cannot say anything in criticism of Israel. Even AIPAC is standing up against this, saying this is not how we should handle, dissenting lawmakers in America. Let me read this quick. The prominent pro-Israel group, AIPAC, suggested Thursday it opposed the move by Israel and supported by President Trump to bar Democrat Congresswoman Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib from entering the country. AIPAC, which advocates for a staunch alliance between the U.S. and Israel, has frequently sided with Trump administration policies that have supported Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, making its opposition especially notable. Quote, "We disagree with Congresswoman Omar and Tlaib's support for the anti-Israel and anti-peace BDS movement, along with Congresswoman Tlaib's calls for a one-state solution. We also believe every member of Congress should be able to visit and experience our democratic ally, Israel, firsthand." So, I never thought I'd say that, but AIPAC is defending these two congresswomen. Nancy Pelosi, who, the Democratic Party does not often say anything negative towards Israel or say Israel is wrong about anything. Nancy Pelosi even came out fiercely attacking this. And why this is happening, let's make no mistake about it, everything is interconnected. Benjamin Netanyahu, he won the Israel presidential election a few months ago, but he was not able to establish a coalition government. That it's a parliament system, so you have to establish a coalition government. He was not able to do that. So there is now a new election, I believe in September. And Netanyahu, for the first time in a long time, is potentially looking like he will lose the presidency in Israel. And he has been president, I believe, for 3 or 4 terms in a row. So it wasn't just AIPAC that was speaking out about this. There was literally politicians in Israel. This tweet from Stav Shafir. She is a left-wing member of the Israeli parliament. Israel, with smart foreign policy, would open its doors to congresswomen who have positions we disagree with and make sure their visit shows them the complexity of the conflict. Bibi's Israel slams the door shut and gives the BDS a gift, which in return gives Bibi what he wants, fear and isolation. So as far as I'm concerned, whether you're for BDS, whether you're against it, this only emboldens the BDS activists and people around the world to say Israel is not democratic and Israel is turning into what America is under Trump, which is becoming, if you watch Trump, I mean, he's going after journalists. He's going after political opponents. He's trying to change libel laws. He's trying to change many laws to basically suppress dissent. This is what authoritarian leaders do. And make no mistake, that's what Benjamin Netanyahu is doing. And Benjamin Netanyahu, by banning these two, he's giving Trump a wink and a nod. I'm with you, Trump. And he's hoping that Trump, in the weeks before the election, will speak on behalf of Netanyahu, because Trump is very, very popular among the religious part of Israel. Not exactly among, young people and things like that. Israel is very much like America. Older people, kind of establishment, younger people, less so. So I think this is beyond the pale. I would tell my father, who I love, who probably disagrees with me, that just because these two people, lawmakers, by the way, both elected, have opinions you find vile, even if you find them anti-Semitic, you know what? There's plenty of people that are, from other countries, brutal dictators, people who kill political opponents, citizens, that the United States government accepts with wide and open arms. From the Trump administration to the Obama administration to the Bushes to the Clintons. So, two elected lawmakers, because you don't like their views, you're saying they can't come. And I agree with that Israeli politician who said, I don't agree with what she's saying about BDS, but what I'm saying is, why not have them come and have a dialogue? It would make them look bad. I'm talking about Congresswoman Tlaib and Congresswoman Omar, if they were invited to have dialogue with members of the parliament and this and that, and they chose not to. I don't think they would reject that opportunity to speak with them. As far as I could tell, granted I've been busy and I haven't been following it like a hawk, I don't think Congresswoman Tlaib or Omar was going there and say, I'm not going to talk to any Israeli politicians, or I have no interest in speaking about our concerns. Wouldn't that be part of the point to go over there? Instead of just talking about your dissent from America, to go to the country and give your opinions about, what you think is obviously an apartheid state, the inhumane treatment of the people in Gaza and beyond. It's just ridiculous. And honestly, I think it's become so normalized, the crazy things Trump does. I mean, just imagine if any other leader did this. It would be the scandal of all scandals. You have another country 20 minutes after a tweet banning lawmakers in America from entering. I mean, this is not like silly season anymore. This is what fascists do. And you got Trump, who I believe now is a fascist. I stayed away from that for many, many years. But after, telling these women, go back home, and the many other things he's been doing over the last few weeks, I don't think there's anything else to say. So it's a shame. I actually think it's going to hurt Netanyahu. He thinks it's going to help him. I think it's going to hurt him. I'm not an expert on Israeli politics, but I will say I don't know how banning your biggest ally in America, two elected lawmakers. We're not talking about like two celebrities. We're not talking about two, you know, think tank people or intellectuals. You're talking about American congresswomen, particularly women of color. You think Trump would have done that to two men who had the same views? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Maybe men of color, probably.
It's possible. It's possible. So I don't know what else to say about that. You have any thoughts?
Oh, thank you, Doug. I appreciate you, man. I agree, but I'm not surprised at all. Like, I'm not surprised at all by what he's doing and what he's saying. It's just, it is who he is, and I'm thankful that AIPAC did that, because I don't like them at all, but I appreciate them, like, because I don't like their influence. You know what I'm saying? But I appreciate them being fair and being honest, and everybody at least being honest. Like, I don't agree, but this isn't right. Period. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate that. But we're dealing with Trump, man. It's like you say, I'm hella immature. I'm hella petty.
You are, yeah.
I'm not, I'm not arguing with you, but I'm saying that Trump is hella petty.
The last thing I'll say about this is, if Trump's, Trump, yes, is playing to his base and all this, but if he wants to suppress the Democratic vote, I don't know why he thinks targeting, too popular among the progressive base, popular among young people, popular among Muslim Americans, popular among women. I don't know why he thinks continually attacking these two women it might bring every last one of his base out, but it might also bring out a hell of a lot more African Americans, Muslims, and people that might have not been so inspired last time to come out, which is why he's president, because less people came out. I mean, Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, but I mean across the Electoral College. So if he wants to keep poking the bear of two of the first, I believe they're both the two first female Muslims elected to Congress. Keith Ellison was the first male. Keep doing it. But I think politically it's a loser for you. And more importantly, Bernie Sanders has pointed out, I believe Israel has a right to exist, but I think Benjamin Netanyahu is a racist. This is racist. You cannot, even if Benjamin Netanyahu vehemently disagrees with these two lawmakers, he thinks, they're disgusting, they're vile, they're anti-Semitic, they're anti-this, they're anti-that. You're the president or the prime minister of a supposed democracy. You can't ban people for their views. Not just people, but lawmakers. So let's throw out the pretense that Benjamin Netanyahu is a Democratic official.
Can I say one thing right quick?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very, how do white people say it? Rich that Netanyahu banned them when Obama was like, tell him at one point, don't come. And he came to Congress and talked to Congress anyway. You know what I mean? Just did what he wanted to do, like disregarded anything that Obama said. Obama didn't be like, oh, you got to get out of here because you went behind me and talked to Congress about, I think it was about getting some money or something like that. You know what I mean? That's all.
So,
where are we going?
That's all I got to say about that. We'll see what develops. I mean, I don't think they're going to get unbanned. So, we'll see. Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statuscoup.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statuscoup.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.